Hey guys, welcome back to more Civ 5 Basics. I am Price and I am joined by Rick.
Yes, hello.
And, alright, so when we last left off, we went through our first turn. I realize it seems like it took forever to get through one turn, but that first turn is really important, and there was a lot to talk about during that first one.
Yeah,
as you can see, there's not a lot left for us to do. We don't have a lot of options for what we need to do. We just need to tell our warrior where to go, and that's kind of our next thing.
Right, just let the monument build, move the warrior around. Things should flow a little bit smoother from here.
Yeah. And here's something that we didn't talk about last time, but you can see here barely in the corner. See this little purple outline over here? We know that that is a border to a city-state because it's got this purple and black dashed line. If you look at our borders, they have a solid line and then a solid color inside. City-states are a little bit different than regular civs, and so they have this kind of dashed line. So we're going to want to head over there and meet them and see who that is. So let's head over one more. Okay, we have met Byblos, and let's see. For meeting them first, we got 30 gold. So the first person to meet a city-state gets 30 gold. Then subsequent people get 15 gold. So if we look at this little naval icon here, this wheel, we know that they are a maritime city-state, which means that they're going to provide us food if we become allies. So Rick, why don't you tell us a little bit more about city-states?
Yeah, city-states are, they're not civs, so they're not going to expand. They're not going to directly wage war on you, but they are going to offer you perks if you become friends or you become allies with them. So there are a couple different ways to become friends or allies with a city-state. One, you can just give them money and pay them until they become friends or become allies with you, or you can do favors for them. Sometimes you'll see a little icon pop up on the right of your screen that'll say, Byblos wants X city-state bullied.
Yeah.
Or
That's always
Byblos wants a road connected to their city. So if you do these favors, maybe construct a world wonder for them, it'll give you a boost in your standing with the city-state, eventually making you friends or allies, which is a good thing because once you become allied with these city-states, then you get the perks of whatever resources that they might have within their borders. So with Byblos, gems, they have gems within their borders. Gems are so great because they give you +3 gold, and then of course you get the +4 happiness, which you would get from any not strategic, but any
luxury resource.
Luxury resource. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. So when you become their allies, you don't get the bonus of being able to work the tile, sadly, but you do get the bonus happiness. It's as if you hooked it up in your own empire. And this can be really crucial, especially if you expand a lot and have a lot of unhappiness. Having city-state allies can really offset the unhappiness that's generated by having a lot of cities.
Absolutely. And also when you're allied with city-states, if you were to go to war with another civ, these city-states will fight for you. They're not going to send their troops too far from their borders, but if there's a city-state near your city that's being fought against, or that another city's or civ has waged war on, these city-states will fight for you, which is pretty great. Also, on the flip side of that, if there's another civ that is allied with them and then they wage war on you, these city-states are going to fight against you. So make sure that you're friendly with your neighbors.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, it's one of those things where, especially later on in the game, if you're in really tight quarters with the other civs that you're playing against, and there's a lot of city-states between you, the city-states can really do a lot to turn the tide of the war. I have actually played games where I've seen city-states take cities. You know, suddenly they will conquer a city from an enemy nearby just simply because they were at war and they were so close together because you waged war on them or something like that. So,
and let me tell you, especially early on in the game when you're not quite accustomed to the way that Civ works, it may seem enticing to go ahead and wage war against one of these city-states because you want the resources that they have. But you will get a huge warmongering penalty, which will really come back to bite you in the ass later on in the game. Civs do not like warmongering, and if you wage war, if you take city-states, then the other civs will not be friendly with you in the game.
And particularly if you're attacking city-states, the other city-states will get you'll get a reputation with them as you attack and take advantage of city-states. And so it makes it a lot harder for you to make relationships with any city-states if you attack a couple of them on your own.
Yeah, so good rule of thumb, unless it's absolutely crucial that you take a city-state by force, don't take city-states by force.
Yeah. And then, and then the last thing is city-states later on in the game will give you votes. And that's really crucial if you want to win a diplomatic victory. City-states are the way to win those victories, by getting their votes in the World Congress and in the UN and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've now explored a little bit. That's all we could really do this turn. Let's go ahead and click to the next turn. All right. So, once again, we don't have a lot we can do. We're still waiting on this monument to build. We can see that we're slowly building up in our food, which once that hits the top of this meter here in 3 turns, we're going to get a second citizen. That means we're going to have another tile being worked. It's a really, really beneficial thing. So, we'll talk about that more once we get there. But let's go ahead and explore some more with our warrior. And when you're exploring with this first warrior, it's really good to keep him nearby. You don't want to get him too far off in one direction, because if a barbarian or something shows up, you need to be able to get back home pretty quickly to fight against those barbarians. So we're going to move him here and then move across here, because as you can see that when you're moving through the forest, you have a reduced movement speed, so it's best to get out into the plains to move along. And look what we found here. We found some cotton. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles away from our city, so eventually, as long as no one else comes in and expands to this spot, we could hook this up to Warsaw. Or, since it's 4 away, we know that if we built another city around here, they're not going to be competing for this resource, so we could maybe think of founding another city around here.
Yeah, and that cotton, that's a luxury resource, so an additional 4 happiness to your city, and 2 gold if it's being worked.
Yeah, so luxury resources are a boon, so you definitely want to try and get all of them when you can. So, next turn. Let's see where we can go. All right, our production continues to move, our food continues to move up, and we're going to cross this river, which gives us a movement penalty, so just only move the 1 space. Oh, it looks like we're reaching the coast there. Okay, next turn. Moving again. Go on top of this hill. The hill gives us a better sight range because we can see over these spaces, so we got a nice little increased view of the map there, but we continue to move and search around. Okay, Warsaw has grown, and look, suddenly we see something not so great. This number has now increased to 16. It's going to take us forever to get another citizen, and the reason for that is because we're not working enough food tiles anymore, because as you can see, the tiles that are just immediately around our city aren't the best. Other than that wheat tile, these ones are only providing 1 food and 1 production, which is a very slow increase. But within 1 turn, we're going to be able to start working this marble, and so that's going to give us 2 food per turn, so that's going to be really nice. Now we need to choose a new production. And since we can't put our granary up yet, since we haven't finished that research, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start putting some production into a scout. And this is a unit that's going to let us explore the map a little bit better. We can keep our warrior back at home once we have this scout, and so then the warrior can protect us, so that'll be nice.
How many turns is that scout?
The scout is going to take 3 turns.
Okay.
A worker would take 8. So we're going to go ahead and work towards the scout, and then we can switch back over to the granary as soon as that technology comes online, and we won't lose any of the production that went into the scout. So that's something really important to know, is that you can switch to building something else, and you don't lose anything from switching buildings.
I've actually heard tell of people who will build, say, a warrior, and they'll pull that warrior off when there's 1 turn left and then start something else, just so that they can go back and build a warrior with 1 turn.
Yeah,
if there was ever a barbarian trying to take your city, or if there was another civ trying to invade your city, you just have basically a warrior on standby.
Yeah, for sure, and you can think that there's a benefit to that because you don't have to pay the maintenance cost of the warrior, because all units have maintenance costs associated with them.
Exactly.
But you kind of have it ready to go, so that can certainly be a good strategy for
so that's kind of a Civ life hack if you ever if you ever wanted that reserve military, but you didn't want to pay the penalty for it.
For sure. Okay, so we are now going to continue a little bit forward. All right, we have discovered pottery, and we've got this new tile over here with the marble on it. And you can see that our citizen has now started working on that, so this number has jumped up to 8 turns for a new citizen, which is a much better number. And we can switch our production now, if we like, to start building that granary that we talked about, which is certainly something that's useful because, again, more food, more citizens, all around is going to be really great for us. A worker would also be good for us to get soon, but once we start getting some social policies, we might be able to get a worker for free if we go down the Liberty tree. So we'll see where that takes us. All right, the granary, definitely something that we want. We have finished our research into pottery, so let's open the tech tree, and we said we want to go straight towards writing. Ooh, writing will be done in 8 turns. So here's something interesting. Remember how we talked about this great library that we can see here? It's a world wonder. This is something where you're kind of competing with other people in order to get it. Let's go ahead and pick writing, because we already said that's what we want to do. But we want to, in order to get this great library, we want to work this marble over here, because that'll give us a bonus to building that great library. But it also requires masonry. So there's going to be a lot of other technology that has to go into giving us the bonus from this marble before we can really take advantage of it. So we don't need to worry about getting that online too quickly. It's going to take us a while before we have those techs.
Hopefully we'll get free techs if we discover any ruins.
That would be nice. So
yes.
I'm going to continue to move in this direction, just around the city. I know that the forest is going to give us a bit of a movement penalty, but oh dear. Well, that's not something you want to see. There's a barbarian over there.
Maybe you should go to...
Let's go into the forest.
I'd say go to the east.
Go to the east?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go over here. Oh! Well, hello. We just saw a lot of things. Let's hit next turn, and Rick, then you can tell us about ancient ruins and barbarians.
So, let's talk about the barbarians first. That guy that gave Price a start just a minute ago. So that's a barbarian. And you'll see barbarians try to invade your city, try to destroy your improvements during the early game. These aren't civilizations. These are just groups of marauding barbarians who are... They're the game's troublemakers. They're really easy to dispatch. They form little camps that constantly spawn warriors and archers just to wreak havoc on your civilization. So during the early game, I usually avoid them unless I have more than 1 unit available. You don't want to wage you don't want to pick a fight that you can't win.
Yeah, they're not impossible to beat. They're weaker than you, and they can't heal unless they're pillaging a tile. So it gives you an advantage to being able to kind of slowly take them out. And you do get a gold bonus for destroying a barbarian encampment, but you don't necessarily want to waste your time on taking that out if you don't have to.
Yeah, early game when you're exploring, the name of the game is to explore as much land before the other civs explore the land. You know, you want to get that extra 15 gold for discovering the city-states early on. You want to get those ancient ruins before other civs get the ancient ruins. You get bonuses every time you discover an ancient ruin. You know, so if you can avoid a fight with the barbarians early on, then I think it's best to avoid a fight with the barbarians.
For sure, I agree. And so then there's this other thing over here, these ancient ruins. Rick, why don't you tell us about these before I go ahead and take them and we see what we get?
Yeah, so ancient ruins, believe it or not, these were civilizations that existed before 4000 BC, and there are ruins of these civilizations spread throughout the maps, and once you find them, you can get a number of different bonuses from discovering them, and to discover them, you just walk over the ruins. So these bonuses could be something as lame as giving you an extra view of the map or exposing barbarian camps, to something really awesome like giving you a free technology or giving you a boost to culture or faith. We haven't really discussed faith too much yet, but we will touch on it. So you love these ruins, and you want to find as many as you can early on. And also, we'll talk about archaeology later on, but ruins will become archaeological sites later on in the game. So once you discover archaeology, you can find artifacts in these ruins. So it's kind of worth remembering the sites that these ruins were, so that you can build your cities close to them if you want to excavate these relics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so if you're going to be playing a culture-focused Civ, it can be good to be like, hey, I found an ancient ruin over here, or maybe I found a couple of them. I should maybe found my next city in this area because I know there's going to be some really great tiles here in the later game. So good to remember. So let's see what we get out of this. Oh, we found advanced weapons in the ruins. So now our warrior has become a spearman. So now we have a much stronger unit because we found some powerful weapons in those ruins. Not a bad thing to get early on in the game. I won't scoff at it. And we also got a little bit more of the map revealed. We can see there's a mountain over here, and we can see that there are some gems. Let's go ahead and hit next turn and move along with the progress on this one.
Yeah, that's really great. I love it when they upgrade units, especially to a spearman, because we haven't researched the technology to make that unit available to us. We couldn't build a spearman, but we just got one for free, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely useful, and especially early on, especially if you're playing a warmonger or maybe an honor-focused Civ, you can really get a boost out of having a spearman early on and being able to kind of harass those barbarian camps. I would be much more confident taking out these barbarians now since I have this spearman, which might be something we'll try and do. But first I want to get up on this hill and get a better view of the map. Oh, and we see that there's a coastline here. And so we'll leave our warrior there for a second. And what we got now is we can see we got this little culture icon popped up in the corner, which means that we can now adopt a social policy. So let's go ahead and do that. And so we were talking about this earlier, Rick, and I think we're going to decide to play a more rapid expansion type Civ because we do want to get a settler out quicker so we can show people what it's like to found another city. So I'm going to adopt Liberty. What does that sound like to you?
Yeah, I like Liberty. Like I said, I usually go Tradition or Liberty, usually Tradition and then Liberty. But Liberty has some really great perks. It gives you a free settler. It gives you a free worker. And then once you research the entire tree, it gives you your choice of a free great person. Which, I mean, it's so much free stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely useful to get these nice little bonuses early on, especially if you're planning on expanding quickly. So we're going to adopt the Liberty tree. So when we click this button, we don't get to pick another of the things in the tree. That's for our next social policy, but we do get to start putting our policies into this tree. And what we get from just adopting it is we get one culture in every city, and it allows us to start building the pyramids, which is something that you can only do if you adopt the Liberty tree. So we're not going to be competing with people who are, say, in the Tradition or Honor trees for building the pyramids. We're only competing with other Liberty civs. So let's go ahead and click that.
Pyramid's a fun thing to build. It gives you 2 free workers, and your workers build improvements 25% faster than a normal worker would.
Which is great for when you're playing a massive expansion type Civ.
Yeah, if you're only going to build a few cities, you know, keep it small, 2, 3, 4 cities, then maybe pyramids isn't something for you. But if you're planning on building a lot of cities, pyramids is definitely a worthy investment.
And then down here, the other thing we can see is that an unknown civilization has started worshipping a pantheon of gods. And so that means that they've started their faith. We haven't done any of that yet, so we won't spend too much time talking about it now. But you are competing with other civs in order to have certain worship pantheons. And so this person took Dance of the Aurora, which gives +1 faith from tundra tiles without forest, so we can see some of those up here. So they would get little faith boosts for working in these tiles. But that's not one that we were going to want anyway, so it's okay that we can't choose that one anymore. So let's do another next turn and calculate some stuff.
Who in their right mind would have picked that?
Sometimes the AI makes silly decisions.
Yeah. Again, I can see the entire map, and I know that there is no Civ that is... Well, no, I guess Ethiopia does have some tundra tile. Okay.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, so now that our spearman is much more powerful than this warrior, I think we're going to do a little combat, and we're going to attack them in the next few turns to prevent them from being able to really harass us as much as they probably would like to. So let's skip to the next turn. And let's start some combat. Rick, I don't know if you can see the combat readouts when I hover over stuff.
I can't see the readouts, but I can see what's going to happen.
So, for combat, we can see that when I hover over the brute while I have the spearmen highlighted, I can see kind of what's going to happen here. My spearmen have a strength of 11, and the brute has a strength of 8. So obviously, a spearman is quite a lot stronger. The brute is getting a bonus to fortification, so they're getting a plus 40% to their strength from being fortified in that tile that they're in. But we're getting a plus 40% bonus against barbarians, all right? So we have this other bonus that helps us to kind of mitigate that fortification bonus. So overall, our strength is 15.4, and their strength is 11.2. So when I start this fight, let's zoom in, let's get a good view. Oh yeah. Our warriors are highly trained. We can see that they took a lot more damage than we did, and we got a little experience boost there, so that was really nice. And I think that'll be it for that turn. Let's go ahead and skip to the next one.
Oh, no.
Oh, another one spawned. You know, that's something that you always have to worry about happening. Well, this guy spawned, so now we are flanked. So he's getting a 10% flanking bonus. This guy who's in here is now has a 50% overall bonus, so he's a lot stronger than he was before. But I'm still not worried. Let's take out this guy next. Let's work on him. Usually the guys that are in the encampments won't attack you straight up because they don't want to lose that tile. That's how they spawn. All right, next turn. Oh, they are attacking us. Oh no!
Wild card! Wild card!
Wild card! Uh-oh.
It's okay.
We're okay. We're okay. All right. And yeah, we definitely leveled up. Ooh, man. So should we... So here we see we got a promotion. So this is since we got so much experience, we can give an upgrade to our units. And the thing is, what we could do is we could use this to heal instantly. All right? That's kind of a safe move. You waste your level. You don't get any more bonuses. But it does keep that unit alive. And if you were going to lose the unit otherwise, that could be a good move. The other thing we could do is get a drill bonus or a shock bonus. And so these basically just give you an increased combat strength when fighting in either rough terrain or in open terrain. So these plains around here, these are all open terrain. And so if we were to pick one, we would probably want to pick shock. A lot of times drill is a good go-to choice, but if we have a lot of plains in the area around us, it might be smart to go with that. And so I think we're actually going to go for a bonus. We're going to play it a little scary here, but I think we're going to be okay. So we're going to pick shock for open terrain bonus.
I think if you pick shock and you fortify right now, they're going to attack you and lose, or they're going to run away.
I think that's what we'll do. So I pick shock. We're going to fortify until we're healed. And like I said before, the barbarians can't actually heal unless they're pillaging tiles. So we're going to be safe for a little while. Okay, we'll do that. Let's go back up and look at Warsaw. We got 2 turns until some stuff happens. So, next turn. Oh, and look at that. So, we just got ourselves another policy, which is fantastic. So let's pick the next one in our tree. Oh, and this is great. We could get ourselves a free worker to start working all those tiles that we have, which could be really, really useful. Or we could go towards Republic, which will give us +1 production in every city and +5% production when constructing buildings, and that works us towards getting a free settler. Rick, what do you think would be the best course of action here?
If we were going to go the pyramid route to get the 2 free workers, I would say let's go towards the free settler there, but knowing that we want to get the Great Library Wonder, I'm going to say let's go the settler route. Let's try to get that free settler.
Get the free settler?
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to do production? Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's try that one. We'll go for Republic, which will give us +1 production in every city and +5% production when constructing buildings. Okay, we will adopt that policy. And I think that's where we're going to end this video. Well, actually, no, you know what? Let's do one more turn because we're about to pop a whole bunch of stuff here. And we're actually going to hunt down this guy before he can attack our city. Sneaky little guy. You little jerk. Got him. All right, and then we'll heal those guys up a bit, and we'll go take out those barbarians. And let's hit next turn, because a whole bunch of stuff is about to happen. So, we just got our granary, so we see that we got more food in the capital. We got more food from this wheat tile. We suddenly just got a whole bunch of food, which is fantastic.
This city is growing at a rapid pace.
Yeah, this city is getting big. Additionally, we finished researching writing, and we can choose a new building for production. So I think we'll end it there, and then we'll pick up with this on the next video on how to move beyond this point in the game. So, I've been Price. I've been joined by Rick.
Yes.
And this has been Civ 5 Basics. We'll see you guys again for the next episode.
See you then.
Bye.